Today on One, your daily dose of local affairs and social media commentary.
Today on One, Trade Ministry through passes Rent Control Board to Urban Ministry. #EndSARS Nigerian activist talks to Today on One. National network to address current SGBV crisis. And basketball archer school to host women in sport event.
The formation of the Rent Control Board to regulate rental prices has been a much-needed dream for many Namibians, with organizations like the Shacks Dwellers Federation and the Affirmative Repositioning Movement AR being at the forefront to secure the completion of the board. At a recent press conference, the Trade Ministry has handed over boxes containing documents on the Rent Control Board to the Ministry of Urban and Rural Development to take over the project.
My brother, I don't want us to promise people here now. Because if I say end of November, yeah. So what I would want to say is, I think the main point here we said we are going to reorganize ourselves and then strategize. And then thereafter, we'll be able to let you know. Because if you say by end of October, that's not a true statement. Just give us time. As we said, it's a new thing to us as a ministry. And as I indicated to you, these people were not dealing with this issue before. But you know, it's like I give something to you, you need to study it.
The Ministry of Trade, Industrialization and SME Development, Lucia Ipumbu, explained to the media why the process of formulating the Rent Control Board has been so slow for the past few years.
While the process was slow, I think we have clarified through the statement that the process involved various consultations at different levels. We talk about the Cabinet Committee on Land and Related Matters. We talk about the various grouping that we have narrated already in the statement that needed to be consulted. And then we talk of the consultation with the Attorney General Office, where we need to seek some legal advice on the way forward. And then the consultation on the constitution of the board, which will ideally be guided by the Act. As of now, we have a bill that is still under consultation, and many of the activities moving forward cannot move on without the guidance of the law. Under normal circumstances, we must have a law in place first that will guide the activities.
The Minister of Urban and Rural Development, Erastus Utoni, said that they cannot confirm when they will either start or finish the program, as his team needs time to study the documents.
Now, you are saying the process has been delayed there from my counterpart ministry, and now you are asking what are the measures that we put in place to expedite the process now. As I said, yes, you need to study because you cannot put measures now while you do not know what you are going to deal with. First, you need to study. You need a clear picture of what it's all about, and then from there you start now to strategize and then put up some measures. Of course, as I've already indicated, that there are stakeholders who are also going to help us in the process. Ministry of Industrialization are here. There might be also advisors that, you know, reasons why things could not go faster is because of ABC, as she has just explained here.
In conclusion, Utoni stated that it won't be an easy task given the fact that his team was busy with other assignments, but he assured the Namibian nation that they will do their level best.
I'm in a meeting. Hi, everyone.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Okay, let's get right into it. Can we talk about the Q2 fiscal report? Ricardo, what do you have for us?
Thanks, Pewa. Well, it's clear we're feeling the economic headwinds. Profits have leveled and we're...
First place!
Sorry, guys, it's my dad.
Did you hear? I'm in first place. And I just broke the lap record.
Dad? Dad? I'm a bit busy here.
Oh.
Okay. Where?
Oh, sorry.
2020 just got crazier in a good way. You can now enjoy fast, reliable, and uncapped internet at 25 megabits per second with Speedlink Light Plus at crazy prices starting from as little as 898 Namibian dollars.
Telecom Namibia.
Sharing the world.
Today on One spoke to Aforefem Afobunor, a female journalist from Nigeria, to verify why thousands of peaceful protesters were recently gunned down by Nigerian state security forces after taking to the streets to demand an end to police brutality. Nigerian journalist Aforefem Afobunor describes what happened during the #EndSARS protests as the Lekki Tollgate massacre. According to her and other eyewitness accounts, over 70 peaceful protesters lost their lives at the hands of the Nigerian army.
What had happened at Lekki Tollgate on Tuesday this week is called the Lekki Tollgate massacre. There have been report that over 70 people died. Eyewitnesses have said that they took some bodies away, so they couldn't retrieve the bodies. The Nigerian army have debunked that and called it a fake news, and that they were not at the Lekki toll gate. Everyone is denying and not taking responsibility for the massacre that has happened at the Lekki toll gate. And right now, a lot of people feel sad. A lot of people in Nigeria want to leave. A lot of young people in Nigeria are looking for an exit out of Nigeria. I've had a lot of people call me. They want to be out of there. A lot of young people they don't feel safe anymore. They feel like they will be targeted. Exactly. Because now that the government is hiding the truth, for them, it is saying they're not safe. It means if something goes wrong and something happens to them, the government is going to tell the world that they never existed.
SARS was initially created as a response from the government to fight crimes such as robbery, but instead, the Special Police Unit has become synonymous with police brutality, extortion, and other human rights abuses, such as arbitrarily arresting young people for their dress code and raping innocent women.
In the Nigerian police force, there are various departments, and one of such departments is the criminal department. And in the criminal department, there is a unit called the Special Robbery Squad, popularly known as SARS. So this SARS is a unit in that department, but their objective is targeted at armed robbers, and kidnappers. So what started out as a great objective, a great mission, for the Nigerian police force, turned out into the EndSARS movement as a result of the brutality meted out on innocent citizens of Nigeria.
The military officers implicated in the civilian killings have been exempted from punishment by the Nigerian president. Reports also show that journalists have been targeted by SARS and the military in an attempt to censor the media and to cover up these brutal killings. So far, the hashtag #EndSARS movements have received international attention, where the UN Secretary General, Amnesty International and the European Union have condemned the atrocities committed against civilians by the Nigerian government.
A recently formed national network that forms part of a global network of organizations aims to educate men and boys in the country on the SGBV crisis and putting an end to it. Men Engage comes at a time when SGBV cases in the country have been at an all-time high, with the national statistics between September 2019 and September 2020 showing that 5,961 GBV cases have been reported with the Namibian police, of which 3,119 arrests have been made. 2,595 cases are with the courts, 892 cases have been withdrawn, 2,338 are still under investigation, 900 cases have been finalized, and 712 convictions have been made.
To gender-based violence, it was very sad for me to learn that even though after the demonstrations that we have seen on the streets, GBV continued. Even today there are cases. Last week there were 7 rape cases. And if you look at those cases, you begin to ask questions. What are we doing as a community? What could have government done in those circumstances? And I always say that, these cases, these activities, GBV activities are not perpetrated somewhere in the jungle. They are perpetrated in our midst. But what are we doing as a community to make sure that they do not happen in our midst? I think that's what we need to start talking about as a nation. Community response, and not only response but prevention. The key to the solution of our situation, GBV situation, is men. If we engage men, if we engage young boys while they are in school, and it starts from there, from the community level, from the home, parental home, and then it goes to schools, to other institutions that works with this young boy, to make sure that we prepare this boy to become a responsible, violence-free man in future.
Men Engage has welcomed government's responses to the recent hashtag Shut It Down protests, which were sparked by the escalating SGBV cases. However, calling for consistency and inclusivity from government's responses and for stakeholders across all sectors to also address underlying root causes. The organization has identified some of the underlying root causes to be patriarchal traditions, harmful gender norms, unresolved individual and collective trauma, as well as violence as an automated and learned response to conflict. They have called out the law enforcement for its response to the recent hashtag Shut It All Down peaceful protests with excessive force.
As a network, Men Engage, we really were touched by the recent protests around SGBV, sexual gender-based violence, and we feel there are 3 key actions that need to be taken. Also, looking at the police response that happened, it showed that violence itself, the response of violence towards any type of conflict or tension, is part of the system, and we need to tackle that. So we strongly suggest and request for sensitization training with the police, to really train police properly to deal with conflict, to deal with violence, particularly gender-based violence. Secondly, we were shocked to hear that Namibia is about to pull out of what is called the comprehensive sexual education in schools, and that is a program that really helps young people to understand what sexuality is, what consent is, where boundaries are concerned, what is a healthy relationship, what is a healthy sexuality, and that is key. Because in a lot of households this is a taboo, so we need these things to be addressed in school so that young people know who they are and how they healthily relate with their peers. Because at home nobody speaks to them about it, and that's one of the major root causes for rape.
Additional SGBV statistics show that between September 2019 and September 2020, the Commerce region has the highest GBV prevalence of up to 2,531 cases, while Kunene has the lowest prevalence of 50 cases. Ohangwena region has the highest rape prevalence of 218 cases, while the Taras region is at the lowest of 10 cases.
He has to listen to the information. Now, that information needs to interpret it and then convert it, and that part of the brain will then absorb the information. I think it will be a huge opportunity. We know.
What is your true purpose, and how will I commit as a leader to continue?
When you speak about the communication and how it's being received,
how do you relate to people? I mean, those respect, love, those are the crucial things before you build the solutions.
Basketball Arts School BAS, in collaboration with the Namibia Olympics Committee, will be hosting a Women in Sport event under the theme The Stimulation of the Body, Mind and Soul. This event is aimed at inspiring the girl child in sports. Focusing on education, life skills and basketball, the Basketball Arts School BAS will host a Women in Sport event to educate the girl child about issues they go through on a daily basis.
The Namibian Olympic Committee, in partnership with the Basketball Arts School, will be hosting a Women in Sport event under the theme, The Stimulation of the Body, Mind and Soul. So the event will be funded by the Olympic Solidarity. At this ever-changing global environment, it's more relevant than ever. We understand the whole COVID situation is going on. Everyone is trying to figure out what's the next step, so why not do something to empower the women, to let them know we're still thinking about them. Everyone is going through something, so let's go through it together. That's the whole concept of why we're doing this Women in Sports event. Now, the Basketball Arts School, one might think it's merely sports, but no, that's why we felt like the Women in Sports event is very close and dear to our hearts, because basketball is just more the fun aspect of things, but we actually focus on the educational aspect of the participants, growing them socially, and that's what we want to use the Women in Sport event to do. As much as we're going to use sports, it's like a pulling factor to have the women have fun, the ladies and the girls also find something to have fun with it. We actually want to focus on what is the actual thing we want to talk about, the issues they go through, find a way to have different girls from different backgrounds speak to maybe women who've already made it through sports, like how did you get to where you are, how can I be where you are. So that's why we felt like BAS doing the Women in Sport was very, very relevant.
Seeing the fact that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Ushona also added that the event will be used to share information to the less privileged living in the informal settlements.
The event is under the theme, as we said, the stimulation of the body, mind and soul through sports, and it aims to provide a safe haven for young women, our youth athletes and the girl child in general. Also, because we know it's the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the event coincides with the breast cancer, and it makes it even more relevant, as we said, because it's the girl child, breast cancer. Let's find out about it. It's not a taboo to talk about these things. Let's teach the girls so they understand what is going on in and around them. So the project is aimed at giving females, especially those from surrounding informal settlements, of BAS, a voice and just a space to air out what it is they're going through and how we can help them. The program will include topics on nutrition, personal hygiene, the importance of fitness, breast cancer awareness, as we mentioned, emotional and inner peace and happiness, education and meditation, and we'll have several presenters do it. So we aim on having it a discussion, because like we said, we don't want it to be you're simply taking it in. We want to hear, what are you going through? How can you help? So we want to make sure that everyone's voice is heard and everyone's opinion is relevant on the day. So the event aims to give back to the female community, as we said, and we aim to build a bridge again between women from different backgrounds, between young girls, between women, just to let them know age really is just a number, and at the end of the day, we are all facing the exact same things.
The one-day event will be hosted on the 31st of October 2020 at the Basketball Artist School Foundation in Katutura at the Katutura Sports Complex.
I'm feeling so bad because of I have been arrested. We are trying to sell to provide our kids with food, but the police, they come to arrest us.
I was literally apprehended in Independence Avenue. I mean, there was no prior communications with the police or with Bonn or Benga Namibia. These guys literally just apprehended us on surprise.
And when you are talking in a manner that is exaggerated about brutality in this country, I should ask you in which country you live.
Yes, I can confirm that indeed there were 2 cell phones that were found after a search was conducted at the cells that the Fish Road accused us staying.
Do you understand the amount of money that the government has spent on the fight against COVID-19? Could they have spent 300 million on tracing people and managing people? Is that even possible?
In other leading stories, the Namibia Red Cross has launched 2 projects in the Irangu region, which are primarily in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and the fire accident that happened in Tualulaka, Walvis Bay. Both projects are funded through the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies through different funding facilities with a total value of 300,000 Namibia dollars. At the launch, chairperson of the National Governing Board of the Namibia Red Cross, Dr. Rosa Present, noted that although the launch is happening now, the Namibia Red Cross team has been on the ground supporting communities since the beginning of August this year. As part of the Namibia Red Cross COVID-19 response plan, Dr. Present further stated Namibia Red Cross will support 1,200 vulnerable households of Walvis Bay with cash payments of 500 Namibia dollars each in the coming 2 weeks, to be repeated to the same households for another 2 months. All lists of vulnerable households received from the various stakeholders will be validated and assessed individually against Red Cross approved criteria and by a team made up of various stakeholders in order to ensure utmost transparency in the selection of the benefiting households. This process is already ongoing and will be completed in the next 2 weeks. And Capricorn Group's continued endeavours towards creating positive change in communities were witnessed again recently when volunteering employees of the group in their role as change makers spent time with over 100 orphans, vulnerable children and youth at the Acacia Children's Trust in Soweto, Katutura, serving meals and drinks, facilitating motivation sessions through vision board activities and panel discussions with the youth. The centre received extra stationery to equip volunteers at the centre with training material as well as office chairs and other furniture donated by Capricorn Group's operations department. Acacia Children's Trust is a non-profit community-based organisation that reaches out to orphans and vulnerable children in Katutura between the ages of 6 and 18. This project also offers diverse skills development training for 60 unemployed youth, school dropouts and single single mothers. The various types of activities for different age groups include a daily feeding program, after-school homework, tutoring assistance, skills training programs like office administration and computer skills, family empowerment programs, and gardening scheme for sustainable vegetable produce.
Welcome to Comments Corner, your daily dose of local comments from the hottest social media pages. Local preacher and entrepreneur Poking Greystone Mackenzie recently landed in hot water after a WhatsApp voice note of him making tribalistic remarks was leaked by an anonymous source. He says it was only a joke he made to his friends in a private WhatsApp group, which people mistook for an insult. Lindiwe said that it did not even sound funny and that the preacher should go to every Damara-speaking man's house and apologize. Alvira said, "Why so hard on the man of God, as we are all humans and everyone makes mistakes." Jay Shaddai said, "One shall know false prophets by their actions." Seth said that he too was upset by the remarks, but now urges others to forgive and forget. Pearl said the preacher was boasting and forgot about being humble. Gwendolyn said, "So that is his perception of Damara-speaking people. And how can he judge people if in the Bible it is clearly stated that no one shall judge others?" Residents of Otoya Informal Settlement in Walfish Bay are living in fear following an incident whereby a woman was nearly murdered this weekend. Linda said the Ministry of Land should give the people land. Justus argued that perhaps the new name Otoya is not relevant as they still have not arrived. Kwavulwa said the police must patrol the settlement around the clock. And that is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today and One.
Win free airtime with hashtag #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. SMS your feedback, name and town to 555. Hashtag #LearnOn1. Invite learning in. Win free airtime with One Africa TV. Share your comments on the channel. WhatsApp your feedback, name and town to 081 200 6659. One Africa TV. It just gets better.
A look at the weather forecast. The Namibia interior partly cloudy and hot to very hot with a few thunder showers, but isolated to scattered thunder showers over the Otjadon-Jupa, Khomas, Omaheke and Hartap regions at places. The coast partly cloudy and cool with showers at places, and the wind moderate to fresh southerly to southwesterly. Now a look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
The biggest